It was absolutely nothing like I have ever seen, even in all the wars and the footage of the wars that, that we are now able to see in real time, when we're blowing up other countries and whatever. I've never seen the devastation like I saw in that dream that night. Never. And the fact that everything was just absolutely blackened, and the sky absolutely did not have like a sun like we know it. It absolutely, I mean, I've even looked at pictures of where, where volcanoes have exploded and caused the ash in the sky.
Darkens everything.
It darkens everything, but in this particular dream, it was not like that. It was almost like something had totally darkened the entire world, and that the only thing that you could see was like fire that was burning. And there was this huge wall, and I remember, that it was broken in certain little areas, and that I had my arm in a sling. And when I walked around it was just nothing. I didn't see anything, any living thing. There was just nothing. And it was almost like I was on a hill and that I was looking down across this huge valley, and it was just absolutely, it was just devastating.
And you're all by yourself.
I was all by myself. And I was standing there, and I was so afraid, just so, I just can't even tell you. I mean, it gives me chill bumps to even think about it, even to just relive it in my mind, because it's like all these years have passed, and
yeah.
I can just see it all happening over again. And when I went around this wall, I saw this very bright, actually clothed man, and he was dressed in this white-looking linen, and I started toward him. And all of a sudden, he turned and he looks down at me. I mean, he's this huge being. And I remember his eyes and how his face looked. And all of a sudden, I just had this overwhelming, just like everything was okay. Everything was going to be okay, and that I had actually come through something that was absolutely just totally devastating, and he was the being that was going to help me out of that. And it, like I say, to this day, when I close my eyes, I can see the colors and the devastation and everything.
I just wonder if this was a prophetic dream, Joy, or whether it meant something to you personally.
Well, the thing that happened with this dream was that I began, of course, going to Sunday school in a little small Baptist church. And I began asking, a million questions. And I know my Sunday school teachers thought, where are you at this age coming up with these kinds of questions? And, no one could really answer them for me, George. I mean, I would be left at night laying in the bed just over and over, what was all this and how did it all play out? And when I finally turned about 13 years of age, I actually sat down and read the entire book of Revelations, and all of a sudden
that scared the heck out of you, didn't it?
It was like, I've seen this before. I have seen what this is talking about, and no one had ever, really said to me, at that age, pick up, the Bible. We had, in Sunday school you did little scriptures. You never really read a book of the Bible, and so I was just not familiar with the kinds of things that was there. And so when I read that, I was like, I was devastated, but at the same time, it gave me an understanding that for all this searching that I had done for years, like 7 years of my life, trying to figure out, what I had seen. It was almost like it was a revelation. I mean, it was a revelation, but it was a revelation.
Literally.
And at the same time, of course, being in a small town, we had a little small library, so we did not have a lot of books to go and pull from. And I remember seeing a little book in a pharmacy, and it was called The Late Great Planet Earth, and it was written by Hal Lindsey.
Yep.
And I just begged my mother. I said, please, Mother, just please let me, have that book. Would you buy that book for me? And, of course, she was like, why in the world would you want a book of something like that, And I just kept on until she bought the book. And I went home, and literally, George, I must have read that book over and over and over again, because I was like, this is exactly what I feel like is going to come to pass. And because I was there from that point, at age 6, I always would tell my grandmother, especially, because she was just very close to me and raised me, that I would see the end of time and that I would be able to determine what was going to happen because I had seen some of it. And when I saw it coming to pass, it would make sense to me about it. And so now, after 40 years, 50 years, almost in that dream, I have been putting pieces of the puzzle together, never thinking that I would ever write a book or ever thinking that I would be on a show like this talking about, what.
And how did you get involved consulting with MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network? How did that happen?
Well, when I was about 8 years old, my father had a motorcycle, and I just loved to ride motorcycles with him. I was a farm girl. I could drive a tractor. I could pick cotton. I could crop tobacco. I mean, I could just do everything on the farm, okay? And ride a motorcycle for me was just absolutely, I thought that was the coolest thing since peanut butter. So one night I begged my dad. I said, please take me out on a ride, because we live way away out, we call it the Boondock City, because, there wasn't any lights around anywhere. We had neighbors about 4 or 5 miles away, so you never saw anybody, late at night. So I had begged him. I said, please take me out for a ride tonight when you get, home from working out in the fields. And so we had supper, and he said, you still want to go for that ride tonight on the motorcycle? And I said, oh, Daddy, please. So we went out and got into the shelter, and he cranked that little Honda up, and we took off down the highway.
Helmet? No helmet.
No helmet. Right.